We've been speculating for a very long time as to what the icons that look like revives are on the Japanese titles, and now we might finally have our answer. They're Z crystals. In a mechanic that follows suit from Mega Evolution in many ways, Z moves are a whole new mechanic that utilize a ring on the trainer's wrist that is called a Z ring. This point was a little bit vague in the trailer and on the website, but there appears to be exactly one Z move for each type, yielding a total of 18 different Z moves. You also need something called a Z crystal to activate Z moves, and there's a different Z crystal for each type, yielding once again 18 different Z crystals that you need to obtain. There are two basic conditions necessary for performing a Z move. One, your Pokemon must know a move that is the same type as the corresponding Z crystal, and second, it's gotta actually be holding the corresponding Z crystal. Once you've satisfied these two conditions, you can execute what Game Freak calls an overwhelmingly powerful move through your Z ring. So far, the confirmed Z moves are Gigavolt Havoc of type Electric, Bloom Doom of type Grass, Inferno Overdrive of type Fire, and Hydro Vortex of type Water. If you ask me, this is a pretty insane mechanic for a couple of reasons. For one, it adds a lot of strategy and depth to battles, because Z moves are a powerful asset, but you've got to be very careful with when you use them since you can only use a Z move once. But also, unlike Mega Evolutions which were restricted to only a handful of Pokemon, every Pokemon in the game seems to be able to use Z moves. Mega Evolutions definitely changed Pokemon a lot, but their effect on the games wasn't quite as widespread because only a handful of Pokemon actually got Mega Evolutions. Z moves are a much different story though, because while they don't bring about as drastic a change as a Mega Evolution does, Z moves can be utilized by every Pokemon, so I think this is going to end up changing the way Pokemon is played in an even bigger way than Mega Evolutions. Also, one thing that's really bugging me is why are these moves called Z moves? This is not the first reference we've had to the letter Z in Sun and Moon, the other reference obviously being Zygarde, whose signature move carves a massive Z into the ground. The way I see it, there are two possibilities. Possibility number one is that Game Freak originally intended to make a Pokemon Z, but they ended up scrapping this idea, and they're throwing a lot of their old ideas for this game into Pokemon Sun and Moon. Here's what makes me question this though. If Z moves are actually a leftover feature from Pokemon Z, why would they go so far as to throw Z crystals on the very titles of Pokemon Sun and Moon? Also, why not change their names to be more representative of Pokemon Sun and Moon instead of this hypothetical Pokemon Z, because this really wouldn't be very difficult to do. They could just as easily call the moves Sun and Moon moves or Eclipse moves. So here's the second possibility, and I believe in this one equally. Zygarde and the letter Z, whatever it may actually represent, are involved and perhaps even deeply involved in Pokemon Sun and Moon in some way. More discussion about this in future theory videos, but for now I want to move on to Pokeride. The whole idea behind Pokeride is that in Alola, you've got the ability to summon Pokemon that assist you with various tasks at certain times. Namely, you can do things like fly on them, ride across water on them, walk on rocky terrain, and even find hidden items or smash rocks. Once you gain the ability to summon a specific Pokemon to do a specific task, you can call on them at any time, but they aren't actually added to your party when you do this. To me, this seems like a potential replacement for HMs, because HMs are something that people have been rather negative on in the past. Regardless of what the core purpose actually is, I find the feature to be very interesting, and it's one of the many side features that add depth to Pokemon Sun and Moon. Alright guys, well that is pretty much going to do it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop me a like down below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more Pokemon Sun and Moon videos in the future, and also let me know your thoughts on Z moves and Pokeride down below in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.